Alright guys, in the last video we talked a little bit about the assumptive close because that is where we always start when we move into a close, is we always want to assume first. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only close available. There are many. There's a plethora of different ways to close a customer on any sale. But what I'd like to do is just unpack a few of them. One way to close is through questions, a questions close. If you'd like to do some further research on questions closing, what I would advise you to do is look into NEPQ. It's called Neuro-Emotional Persuasion Questioning. So it's a way in which you ask questions that lead to the result that you're after without saying anything or making any statements. You actually get the customer to lead themselves to the conclusion that you're after. And if you're a good manager, you do the same with your reps. And so when it comes to the questions close, the reality is we should be using this throughout the entire presentation, soft closing them through asking questions. For example, like explaining net metering. All right, does this make sense? Does this look like a better deal than what you have now? That's a questions close. Even though we're not at the close yet, what we're doing is we're seeing how warm they are. Are they on our side yet? How close to being over on our side of the fence are they? So throughout the entire presentation, we should be using questions. Soft closing them is what it's called. And so we get into the presenting of the numbers, or we're explaining the tax credit. Does this look like a good deal that the government is going to give you 30% back on this solar? Yeah, man, that looks awesome. I can't believe they're doing this. Guess what? That's a soft question close that you have there, and you got the answer you're looking for. And so you can use the questions close, asking questions throughout the entire presentation just to test how warm they are to the ideas you're presenting them. Then we have another close called the urgency close. This is where you get to the end, you assume the deal, they're pushing back, they're giving objections, and you're trying to do everything that you can to get them across the fence, to get them on your side, but they're just not budging. So you can pull out something of urgency. I mean, there's all sorts of things in our space that are urgent matters that people need to move on quick. One is financing. So finance rates change. They change on a quarterly basis. You know, I could present to you a $299 deal today, and then it'll be a $499 deal tomorrow, and your average monthly payment now goes up 20 bucks. That's one element. Another element is net metering. We have no idea how long net metering is going to be around per utility, because the more and more people that go solar, guess what? That's taking up capacity on the grid that isn't growing. The grid's not growing. And so utility companies are having to make changes to how they do net metering to make up some of the difference in cost that they're losing by people going solar. So urgency, points of urgency. What is urgent about solar right now that they need to move on at this moment? Then you have a takeaway close. So a takeaway close is typically used when the customer is saying this is too expensive. If we're trying to sell them a premium product, like a premium panel, Panasonic panel, LG, SunPower, and we have another option, a tier 1 module that's cheaper, we can actually use a takeaway close to get them to see the value of the premium module. This is what really good car salesmen do. What they do is they take the consumer first to the truck that's decked out. It's got the leather seats, it's got the heated steering wheel, it's got all the bells and whistles, right? Because they know once they show that customer that really expensive product and the customer says, you know what, this is too much, and they take them to the car or truck that doesn't have any of that, any of the bells and whistles, they know the consumer is going to be like, man, can we go back and look at that more expensive truck? Not because it's more expensive, but because it actually, in their mind, gives them more value. There's more value in that truck. So when we're using a takeaway close, it's essentially what we're doing. Okay, so this setup is too expensive. It's what it sounds like. What if we moved you over to this system? The panel's a little bit less efficient. It is cheaper. It's really good, but you're not going to get, you know, the production over the long haul like you would here. You're not going to get some of the protection on the warranties that you do here, but otherwise it's a really good product. What we're doing there is we're planting the seed that you shouldn't be looking at this option. You need to go with the first option. So that's the takeaway close. We use that to get them warmed up to the original deal that we were trying to sell them. Then we have a close called the today only close. This is where the customer is not budging. No matter what you're throwing at them, they're not budging. So a today only close means if you can move forward today, if we can come to an agreement to get you going on this solar deal today, here's what I will do, whatever that is, right? Maybe it's, if I could call my manager and work a better deal for you, what is it that you would need to see in order to move forward on this today, right? And let's say, oh, well, I need to see $10,000 off. Well, we're probably not going to be able to do that, but can we meet them in the middle? Is there some wiggle room there? Call a manager, see if you can help them out. Because that might be the thing that they need to see and experience to realize, like, man, this guy is really wanting my business. He's really fighting for me. Let's go ahead and do this. Then we have a summary close. So a summary close is the same thing as the assumptive close. It just comes before the assumptive close. And what I mean is this. In a summary close, you're just summarizing everything you went through. All right, so you get to the end of the presentation, you've presented their numbers, you've answered all their outstanding questions. After you do that, then you just summarize everything you went through. All right, so I just want to make sure we're clear on the tax credit, da-da-da-da-da. You understand this, yes, awesome. So net metering, you understand that? Yes. Just making sure that they understand all the bullet points, and then you move. All right, sounds like this is a good deal. Moving to the assumptive close. Can I get your first and last name to make sure that we're qualified for this program? Then we have a sharp angle close. Now the sharp angle close is a little unique, because the sharp angle close, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to see that this is the deal they need to move on today. Kind of like the today only close, but we're not trying to find a better deal. What we're doing in the sharp angle close is a little bit of the today only and a little bit of the urgency. So we're coming in at a strong angle on a certain point that they told us was a big factor in the discovery and needs assessment. Like if they give us something in a discovery needs assessment, if they state something like this, like if I can see that this saves me $15, it's a no-brainer. And you get to the close and you're saving them $20 and they're not moving. Well, now you can use the sharp angle close. Like, Mr. Homeowner, I have in my notes that when we started this discussion, you said that if we could save you $15 a month out of the gate, you were going to move forward on this. We're saving you $20. What is it that's preventing you from moving forward? Because we're providing you with what you need. So we're zeroing in on the thing they told us they needed to see in order to move, and we're holding them to it. Never be afraid to do that. Obviously use tact. You don't want to be a butthole. But you want to make sure that the customer understands you were listening. You were listening to them. Like, you told me this is what you needed to see, so I wanted to make sure I provided it for you, and I did, and you're still not doing what you said you were going to do. That makes the customer feel like, oh man, I'm not holding to my word, right? And no one wants to feel like that. No one wants to feel like they're a liar at the end of the day. And so this is an emotional tactic that we can use in order to get them moving forward. Because again, at the end of the day, the solar deal is always going to be better than the utility. So those are the closes that we will use in the home. And as you walk with us through your journey at SolarWorks Energy, you'll learn how to use these more effectively.